Got it. Okay, just wait for a while. You are my 101 guest.
Nice.
Yeah, started off last year, June. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, let me just do a very quick verification. Yeah, that is live. Yes, we are live. Woo. Hello, parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box and wishing you a belated Merry Christmas and also advance Happy New Year. Okay, today I am very honored to have a good friend of mine, and I think if you watch the shows recently, or I think MasterChef as well as SPOP, the face will not be unfamiliar to you lah. Hello, Leon.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi. Okay, so let me just give a brief intro of Leon. Leon is the, okay, let me repeat lah, MasterChef Singapore Season 2 first runner-up, and I watched it, and I almost cried. Yeah, but I cried for the fact that I think you went through all the way. Yeah, and I'm so proud of you. And you are also the SPOP Wave semi-finalist. Okay, Leon, I think some of the parents may not know you lah. So could you share with us your backstory? Because I think today's conversation is very much on how do we achieve academic success while chasing your passions, and it's a very diverse topic.
Yeah. So for myself, if you guys already know, I'm actually a Chinese tutor for the past 3 years. But before that, I was actually an MOE school teacher, and I was teaching in a secondary school somewhere in central Singapore. Yeah. So prior to that, of course, as a teacher, you have to go through NIE. So I'm an NIE grad, and I'm a teaching award holder from NTU, and I'm majoring in Chinese studies. So that's my background lah, in terms of my academic background.
Yeah. Okay. I think today's conversation will touch on some sensitive stuff lah. So I think I also need to be very careful because again, all these roads that we take are only embarked by dream chaser, and being a dream chaser, the mindset even the brain must be of a different type. Yeah. Okay, maybe for a start, how do you define academic success in your own ways lah?
For me, academic success is not something that is a given, definitely. And for me, I've had my fair shares of successes and failures. So I think academic success, to me, it's more of like being a better version of yourself, or putting in the effort to learn something that you may be not too sure about. So for me, like even in secondary school, I started off F9 for math in Sec 2, but then I didn't give up, and eventually I got A1 for O-levels lah. So it's not about that moment of failure, but it's rather what are you going to do about it, Yeah. And then even for Chinese, I got a D for A-levels, but then I still took a scholarship in the end with my university grade. So it's not about that point of failure in your life, but from there, where are you going to hit to? Yeah. So to me, as long as you don't give up, and as long as you try to work things out with what you have and eventually get to your destination, that is academic success to me lah.
So it sounds like to me, from what you define success, to most people, it could be like the outcome. For example, when you ask someone, hey, so what do you want to be? I want to be successful in this or that. And it seems to be an outcome, but to you, it's like a start of the journey. Yeah, so tell us more about, I think many people will want to know, how did you embark on a journey of like even dreaming or dare to dream that, hey, I want to be in MasterChef and SPOP. So tell us more about the journey from quitting a teacher's job to where you are now.
Yeah, I think the journey starts even earlier than that. I think it starts much younger. So for food wise, right, I remember like when I was in secondary school, and then we started having, now we call this food and consumer education lah, but back in my days, it was called home economics. So I remember like, cooking something, burning the toast, burning the pastries in the oven. But at the end of the day, you just feel it is quite fun. Like not the burning part that's fun, but it's like creating something from scratch that is fun. And for the music part, because back in secondary school, I was in the school band. So it also started to plant the seed from a very young age. But then when so my goal has always to be the teacher. So I reached my goal when I was 20 when I got my contract for teaching lah. And then I was thinking, so what's next for me? And it started to get me thinking about, hey, maybe I should try something else, maybe food or singing. So I just tried to do things in my free time. It wasn't so much of like, I want to make this as a career, but it's more of like, okay, this is my hobby. Let me see where can this hobby take me. So slowly I started baking for friends. And then after that, I was singing in my bathroom. And then slowly people, yeah, start to call you, hey, I got this wedding, I need a singer. You want to sing or not? Just for free, lah, right? Just sing for fun. So I just sing for my friend's wedding. Then after that, my friend will show me to sing for a CC event. Then go and sing for National Day. Yeah, so it's always one step at a time. And then for cooking, it's like, okay, one day, okay, the truth of my baking club was that I broke up. And then I was very sad. So I walked past the CC's the counter, they had this banner, do you have a passion? Then I was like, yeah, I like to cook lah. Let's go and do something about it. Yeah, so I started the baking club, and then we started with maybe 5 students in the club, and then it ended up with 40 people. Yeah, so it's always the smallest steps, and the least expected things will happen. So I think for myself, it's really just having the courage, and also sometimes it's not to think so much, just do it. Yeah.
And it tells to me that like life presents all the opportunities to you in an effortless way, and the good thing is you embrace them. Yeah,
Yes.
growing from 5 to 40 in the bakery club, as well as people inviting you to sing, and then you embrace the opportunity as well. Because I don't remember, even though I think I sing quite well, but my children always ask me to shut up. No one invited me for singing at wedding reception.
I guess the shut up part for me is like in JC, I was still like figuring out my voice and everything. So at that point in time, there was some classmates who say like, actually your singing not very good. Like, can you like don't sing anymore? That kind of thing lah. So for me, it's okay, I'm not good in singing, then let me try to do something about it. So I started to take lessons when I was 20 plus. So I also had this vocal coach who told me, your voice is not very good. Maybe you should forget about this journey lah, right?
Really?
Then,
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
And then so it's like the teachers also play a part in your assessment of yourself. Yeah. But for me, it's just like, I really like to do this, and even if I don't get paid, it's okay. So I just try lor. Yeah. And then there was this coach that same coach said, when I was sick on one day, I had this really bad sore throat and really bad sinus problem, right? So the coach was like, oh, actually you sound better when you're sick. Maybe you should just sing when you're sick only, that kind of thing lah. Yeah, so it's always this negative comments that people will tend to shy away, but I'm a bit of a rebel in that sense. So people say no, then I will just like, okay, let me try again. Okay, let's see how you go. Yeah, so it's not so much about being the best, but it's always not giving up. That is the most important thing to me lah. Yeah, and then for MasterChef and for SPOP, it's really people give you the opportunity, then you just try lor. Yeah. So I mean, to me, or maybe to some people, it might sound like a matter of fact. It's something that is I'll just do it. But I think behind those just do it moments is really all the effort and hard work you put in, and believing that something good will come out of this experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess because I know that you're still very young lah. Yeah, I am like your age plus 10 yeah. So yeah. But I think when we talk to young children, and like for yourself, you also teach and your strength is in teaching O-level Chinese, right? Yeah, because I almost want to say O-level kids. Yeah, I can see how old you are. Yeah. So okay. So when you say never give up, because I believe that when I was younger and I didn't do so well for my school subjects, and I always told never give up, and it's just like that. Yes, but it doesn't really make sense to me. So how if a child comes to you like say, hey, teacher Leon, you asked me to never give up. Actually, what do you really mean? Can you run through with me what are the thought process in you? Because I think chasing dream also needs a lot of inner work and inner talking process to bring us further in the midst of all the negativities.
Yeah, I think the thing about not giving up is the first thing is to accept that you did not do well or you did fail in a certain aspect. Because I think sometimes, okay, I mean, in terms of studying or cooking or even singing, right? There are some moments where you have friends who maybe they don't do so well, but they think they are very good. So I feel that for this group of people, maybe it is more important to first recognize that there's a mistake or there's a problem somewhere. Yeah. And then we start working on it. Rather than saying that, oh, don't give up, and then there's nothing, no follow-up or anything after that, right? So for me, it's more of like, okay, we recognize there's a problem, we find a solution for the problem. So for example, for my students, they do badly for their compositions, for example. So I already devised like this 7-step method, right? So I will just tell them which part of this method did you not succeed in achieving. So it's very, I would say, very specific, very pinpoint, very targeted, and also very strategic when I'm finding problems and I'm trying to solve a problem, because every single part that you manage to unlock will help you to achieve a certain level of success. Yeah. So it's same thing for baking. Today I make macarons, but then the macarons failed. So which part of the macarons process did I not achieve well? It's not so much of like, because a lot of students tell me my Chinese is very bad, then I don't like Chinese, right? So to me, it's like, it's not that your Chinese is bad, but which aspect of the paper do you not manage to achieve success in? Yeah, that's a more important question to me, because as a tutor, then I can pinpoint where is the problem. So same thing for baking. If I overbake the thing, then it's the timing issue. If I overwhip something, then it's the process issue, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And even for singing, I did not hit that note well. So is it because I didn't breathe enough? Is it because I didn't articulate the words clearly? Is it because I didn't lift my soft palate higher? No, that kind of thing is very technical. Yeah. So it's about finding that point and then rectifying. But if you rectify maybe 85% of all your mistakes, then you have got 85% already. Yeah. So I feel that what is the main problem with a lot of students when they face failures is that they see the failure attached to themselves as an entity, rather than finding where is the problem and fixing it.
Yeah. And having served our own community of parents who teach their children primary school maths, yeah, I can understand why sometimes it's so hard to really help the child to see mistakes making as a positive experience. And I think the normal definition of mistakes will be careless. It's always careless. It's always because my child is careless. So what's your take on this, and how can we even I think this one is also, as an educator that is in you, how can we start to make mistake making a known fact that it's actually part of the learning experience, and stop being defined as it's just careless, it's all careless mistake.
Yeah, I think the thing about careless mistake is that, okay, so we have to recognize first that the whole education system is built on an assessment, right? Without assessment, there will not be a need for an education system in that sense. So the assessment serves a certain purpose in our society, right? To sift certain talents out for certain purposes in their further education. So for me, it's more of like, if let's say I'm a student who is not very strong in math, but I need a math grade to go to the next level of study, then obviously it has nothing to do with me being careless or anything. It's more of like, I didn't manage to achieve something that my parents want. So I think first and foremost is the parents' expectations really need to have a little bit of a change or shift. Yeah, in that sense that because I do have some students who have parents who help them do their work. And
really?
then yeah, and
Serious?
then when I mark the work, it's like really good. And I will tell the kid that, hey, your Chinese not bad, eh? Then the kid will say, oh, my mom did this for me. So there's this nagging thought in my back of my head that it's not that the child isn't able to do, but the parent swoop in to save them when they most need to fall. Right. So I think the truth of the matter is that parents need to help the child to embrace failure as part of the growing process, and not be there to save them all the time. Although, of course, some parents will say, oh, life-saving or life-threatening situations, how? Of course, life-threatening situations, then yes, let the child be saved by you. But then in terms of a learning process, you learn more from failing than success. Because the failure, okay, the pain will definitely teach you something, right? Then by making a mistake, you remember not to make that mistake next time around. So I think that is more important rather than the child don't know how to do, then the child come and ask for help. and then the parent just help the child, right? Then the child becomes very dependent. So at the end of the day, I think it's more of like parents learning how to let go and helping the child to be independent in their own learning and then eventually in their own lives. Yeah. So when the child fails and the parents don't help, it's not because the parent don't love the child. I think there's this attachment of like, oh, if I don't help my child, I'm a bad parent kind of thing. Yeah. It's more of like knowing when to help and when not to help. And then the discernment will make you a better parent. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the parts that you say that deciding when to help and when not to help. Yeah. As parents, sometimes I can't help it in the sense of in an environment of fix it, or like when we go to buy food, right? We want the food fast. That's why there's fast food, or and then also instant gratification. Yeah, and sometimes I know that sometimes as a parent and having parents friends, we just want the thing to be fixed because our child comes with a problem, which is the problem sum and or other school homework, and you just want to get it done. Yeah. So from experience as a teacher and an ex-teacher and as an educator and also a young person, yeah. So what would be some of the ways that a parents can take to like, hey, okay, I'm aware that my child came to me for help, but instead of doing the homework for my child or going to the WhatsApp group and copy the answer or whatever, what else can the parent do to say, hey, let's this be a learning lesson or learning experience for my child, or even with or even for me about my child?
I think in terms of homework, right? Because I think different subjects also have different strategies. At least for Chinese, what my experience is with is that if let's say the child doesn't know how to write a story, I think it's more helpful to give guiding questions than giving the answer itself. So it's like if you are crafting an environment, I will ask the kids like, hey, imagine you are in this location. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? And then we try to construct the whole environment. And then if you are the character in the story, if you encounter this, what will you do? So it's very tedious, but I think if you take the effort to do it once and you do it right, next time around the child comes with fewer questions. Yeah. So I think that is more helpful than telling a child, oh, you write this. Because by giving them the solution on the spot, right, when they are faced with the same problem in the examination, they are unable to problem solve or troubleshoot on their own. So I think for languages especially is to troubleshoot for the child for paper one. For paper two, I realized that a lot of kids, when it comes to comprehension, when they cannot read a chunk of words, they get scared. And then the parents will just explain everything to them. But most recently, I helped this child to look at keywords, and then it's in a way to speed read the whole passage and construct his own version of the story, maybe leaving out a certain detail, but then you are still able to answer the question to about 75% accuracy. I think that is more important, like, because the child, after being helped by the parents for so many years, he will just give up when he cannot read a certain chunk of words. But then I will just force him. They tell me, what do you think is happening when you can construct a sentence from these 5 keywords? Because essentially the whole comprehension is just an extended version of a shorter meaning only. Yeah. So you just need to find the core meaning of that paragraph and then reconstruct it in his own words. So I think for me, it's just really guiding. And when the child comes to you, he might come to you 5 times, 10 times. Don't dismiss the child away, but let them figure out on their own. It may take a long time at the beginning, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like a skill, man. The more you do the skill, the easier it gets.
Yeah. When you talk about the breaking down the sentences into chunk size, okay, again, I'm not the Chinese expert here, lah. Yeah. So is it the technique of 有边读边是吗？是不是？
Not exactly that, but because the children definitely they do have a basic vocabulary of at least 30 to 40% of the passage they have lah. So for example, this set 1 boy, he has 50 to 60% reading accuracy for a primary 5 passage. So he's able to understand maybe 50% of what the passage is trying to say, but he always says, I don't know. So I feel that that's a conditioning from parents. So I don't know, I get help, right? So I don't accept I don't know in my class. You don't know, you find out, right? You tell me of the 50% of words you can read, what do you think is happening, right? So I think it's a bit cruel in the sense that you're driving the child to a corner, but I think that's where their survival instincts start to kick in, and then they realize that actually I can do it on my own. Yeah. So sometimes parents may not feel that they can be so cruel to their children, but sometimes the pain is necessary. But you're not really pushing your child to die, right? You're just putting them in a situation that they have to resolve on their own.
And I really like the part that you say about conditioning, and something that I think we can explore more, because I think I really like to really understand how your brain works, because for the fact that you chung so many different adventures over a span of like 1 year since we met. Yeah, I was like, what? Now I see Leon. I thought I saw Leon on Zoom, then now I see Leon on my TV. Woo! Wow. So what do you do? Yeah. So okay, talking about conditioning. Yeah. And I think parents, I think something that we also want to take note as well. Whatever we do to help our children, we are conditioning them in some ways that this is the kind of help given when these problems arise. So from what Leon shared, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like if the problem arises and the child comes to you, say, hey mama, I need your help for this homework. This question, be it EMS or whatever, how you respond or how you help him is going to define how he responds to this question. Meaning that option one, Leon is like, okay, you work with the child. So the child knows that, hey, I'm not going to get a full answer on a silver platter from mommy. And in the end, if I ask her, I still must get it done by myself. So why I still want to ask her? So I myself can do it by myself, right? Yeah. Option two, if you go to the WhatsApp group, social media, which is fine as well, but you choose to just let your child to copy, and it's an easy solution. I mean, I love it actually, because it saves all our time. But it is somehow conditioning the child to get answer from you and get the answer without processing, which is learning is lost lah. Yeah. So Leon, so back to you. So in the midst of all this working with the norms and also the mentality and mindset of most people, how do you condition yourself out of the norm?
I think for myself, it's more of so every time when I was much younger, when I go for competitions or I go for exams, right, it's always this very competitive spirit of like, I want to be number one. Okay. But I realized that when I have that kind of mentality, I'm always met with a lot of disappointment because reality versus expectations. So, but I realized that my journeys were more fulfilling when my mindset shift to what can I learn out of this experience. So I think that framework or that mindset really helped me to look at competitions and even examinations in a different light. Because whenever I fail, right, I'm very excited. I feel that when I make a mistake, that is where my learning takes place. So that is what gets me excited. And when even if I don't win number one or I don't get a placement, right, but I gain an experience out of it that is life-changing or even beneficial to my either singing, cooking, or even studies in a certain way, I will embrace that. So I think in terms of my own personal conditioning is that treat everything as an experience. We don't attach a negative or positive emotion. Even if I win, I'm not particularly happy. Even if I lose, I'm not particularly sad. It's just what have I got out of this? If I gain something, that is enough for me. Yeah. So in terms of my own journeys, that is how I process all the experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. As you're sharing, I think it reminded me of a time when I was younger. Whenever I wanted to step on the mud, right, after it rained, my mom will always say, "Don't go and step lah, later your shoe dirty Then end up I stopped doing that because I lost the interest, or of fear manifested in my head through my mom's word. Yeah. So I think as a child, our growing up years are hugely defined by the parenting style of our mother and our dads. Yeah. So could you share with me how was your growing up years like? Because I think somehow I believe that your growing up years could be a bit different, that shape all your strong character and your virtues, such that you are able to be garang enough to, hey, chong these 2 years chong
I think for me growing up, it's very different because like I was very independent from a very young age. Like 8 years old, I can walk home from my school, which is like 4 kilometers away.
Really? Oh my gosh, I would allow that for my kid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like when I was 8 years old, I was just walking
Kidnap
home
how?
from I studied in Newtown Primary lah. So I studied so I
Okay.
always I think I was smart enough in the sense like I only walk on the main roads. I don't walk on the small roads lah, right? Then I walked home from Commonwealth all the way to Clementi. So I stayed somewhere in Clementi. Yeah. So from a young age, I realized that if I met with a problem, I have to solve it on my own. Yeah. And my parents were very busy with their work. So part of me felt that I shouldn't disturb them. So I will just go and find a solution on my own. Yeah. So that resourcefulness came from, I would say, I'm not blaming my parents because I know that they're working hard for the family, but in a way, there's an absence of my parents that got me to be more resilient and more resourceful lah. Yeah. But then in now the current day and age, we're in a different time. Yeah, parents are more able to be present in their child's life, but at the same time, the things that you do around your child will condition them in a certain way, lor. So I think what I have just mentioned earlier, whenever a child is met with a problem, don't present the solution immediately, but challenge them to think of a different way to solve the problem. Yeah, then that could also impact how the parent and child relationship is. And at the same time, I think the parents shouldn't just say, you go do your own, I don't care about you. No, I'm not advocating that, but it's more of like when a child comes to you with a problem, you ask them to solve on their own, and then you verify, you check for them. You double check that they're okay, they're fine, and then you assure them that their method has worked. Then it comes full circle.
What about your passion and you share that you started to love to sing and also bake at an early age. How were you encouraged to continue with your passion at a young age?
My parents were not the very encouraging type. They will just tell me not to step in the kitchen, not to sing in the toilet because very noisy.
But it sounds nice, right? It's free entertainment.
I a bit botap lah because I will just do whatever I want to do. Yeah, because I think in a way like okay, if they tell me to don't sing, I will still sing, but I sing softer. If they tell me to don't cook, I will cook when they're not around. You know that I'm like those kind of rebel child, but not like outwardly rebellious lah. Just find ways and means to do stuff and then clean up before they come home, that kind of thing. Yeah. But I think for now, right, because we have so much technology around us and there's so much digital resources that you don't even need to cook something to know how to cook. You get what I mean? It's just like you learn something on YouTube and then you feel that you have gotten the basics of it. And then next time around, you can try it when you're with a friend. Yeah. So it's in a way, bookmarking certain content that you enjoy and then using it at a later point in time. Yeah. So the learning process now is also much different from the past. Yeah. So I think parents nowadays are also more encouraging in terms of chasing their child's passions lah, because they have so many different clusters, so many different resources available in this day and age.
Cool. Yeah. So the first part of the conversation will be very much on I mean what I heard is your growing up years and how your character is being shaped. Yeah, as well as the ups and downs. Yeah. I think that as a layman, yeah. So what we watch from the MasterChef as well as the SPOP, I think also because it's a media industry, what it presents will be more of the nice scenes lah. Of course, they do show the kanjiong period where the time's running out, and my heart almost pop out when time is running out for you. Yeah, see, I got watch. Okay. Yeah. So could you share with me like as a person who went through chasing your passion experience, what were some of the downsides, if you're okay to share that? And I think the intention is more like, so how can the younger people who are, I think they are now being also educated that hey, you can actually be your own bosses or chase your own dreams. What do they need to build up to even start on a journey so that they can fall down, which they will, and rise up stronger?
Yeah, I would say that from my experiences in 2 reality TV shows, of course, part of us must recognize that it is, after all, just a TV show, lah, right? And then it's not a golden ticket to success, right? It doesn't mean that you've been through this, you can now be a singer or now be a chef, right? Of course, it does open many doors. And then at the same time, are you ready to take these opportunities, right? Because I think for me, all the things I've gone through in the past probably set me up for the readiness to take up these opportunities now. Yeah. But then at the same time, I have to recognize that there are certain things that are really beyond my capabilities, and maybe I might need a few more years before I can open that door again, right? So one thing we need to recognize is that being part of a show, yes, it's very aspirational, but then when the show ends, the journey starts, right? The reality starts. And how do you manage that from that point onwards, really make or break your career like, in terms of whatever passions you are chasing. But what I do appreciate is that when you are in this kind of environments, you do meet a lot of friends and a lot of industry professionals. And by having good relationships with them, definitely help you to further your passion, because they might be mentors to you, they might be partners or business partners. Some of the friends can be even your business partners, as I mentioned, and the industry professionals may be the ones to open another door for you, right? So the networking there is also very important, lah. So I think that's what I mentioned about like winning or losing is not the most important. The most important is what you get out from the experience. And I think for me, making friends and knowing more people is the biggest takeaway. Yeah.
So I pick up two things. One is the networking skills, and the other one is like being ready when the opportunity opens its door to you. Okay, I think let's talk about these two lah, because I think it's a very big topic nonetheless. And the reason why I ask is because some of my younger friends ask me, so what is the most important thing that I've learned when I was studying in NTU? 20 years ago lah. Yeah,
I'm
so
also
long.
about that lah. I'm 10 years ago.
Where got that half leh, Mr. Lim? How can you say no? Like okay, it's fine. I can. I mean, we are friends lah. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. So I think it surprised me when this blurred out from my mouth. I said that, and I told them that you got to network with those professors. Yeah, I mean, this is what I told them. They were like, what I thought they were so surprised because they thought that you must have this skill to ace your don't know what lah. Yeah, because I think for me networking is very important because and up to now some of the professors are still, I mean, we became good friends. Yeah, and we still stay in touch, and I really cherish the kind of relationship. Yeah. So but on hindsight, sometimes in school, our parents may tell us like, hey, focus on your studies. Why you make so many friends for what? Why are you going to make friends with a teacher? Yeah. So how will you tell this to your, let's say your O-level student, learn to network? Whereas part of our head also tells us that if this is heard by the parents, the parents like, huh? I hire you, pay money, teach him this one for what? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what I mean. For me, it's more, okay, I'm a very weird person, no? Because like back in NTU, right, I had 7 committees while still having a scholarship, right? So I was still studying.
7 committees.
Yeah, but I had 7 committees. I had like 3 committees here in one club, then 3 committees in another club. So I was also running many things. And through these experiences, actually, I get to meet friends. So I think not just networking with your professors, but also your friends, because you never know, one day this friend might succeed and become a very influential person in society, right? So I'm not saying that because I leverage on friends, but it's more of like this person may come down maybe 20 years down the road to give you an opportunity as well, because of the good memories that they had with you 20 years ago, that kind of thing. So not just professors, but peers alike. And one thing I tell my students who are graduating, because they always ask me, should I go to JC or should I go to poly? So for me, the answer is very clear cut. You go to poly, not because you are weaker in your studies, but it's because you already know what you want. And by meeting the industry professionals there who are the lecturers, they can bring you to where you want faster, right? Because if you are someone, let's say I got a student, he got, I think, 9 for his L1 R5. So he got even lower score on L1 R4. He went to cybersecurity in, I think, Ngee Ann. So when he go there, right, he meets so many teachers that were in the cyber security industry, and then he was introduced to take a scholarship with Intel.
Wow.
Right, so it's like these people will definitely open doors for you if you have the potential to learn certain things lah. Whereas JC, to be very honest, most of the teachers there are probably graduates from universities like us, and then they embark on a teaching career. This is how I did when I started my teaching career in the ministry. So they can offer maybe other things, maybe academic resilience, but they may not be the most well-connected people in the industry, right? So whenever my students ask me whether to go JC or the poly, this is the single most important criteria. Who are the people you can meet that will bring you to the next level in your career or in your further studies, right? So for me, that is the reason why I feel that networking is so important, because you never know who you'll meet, and you never know who these people will be able to introduce you to and what doors they may open for you. Yeah.
And I think it come in timely to talk about being ready when the opportunity door is open. I think it's Coach was saying that once the student is ready, the right teacher will appear, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So tell us more about that.
Okay, for me as a teacher, right, sometimes when we teach in the school and then we have this one child that really annoys you, and this one child that you really cannot help. Okay, when I was a younger officer, I was like, oh my God, I want to help every single child. But then when I grow a bit more senior in the industry, I realized that maybe I'm not the right teacher to teach this child this lesson of maybe respect or humility or whatnot. You know? So I think for me, the opportunity comes to you. It may come a few times in different forms. But when you're ready, then you can recognize that it's an opportunity, right? And then sometimes when you're able to recognize there's an opportunity, you might not be ready still, but it will come again in another form further down the road. So I'm a believer of things will still come back to you, but you need to be able to connect the dots and see that this is the same opportunity, maybe 2 years or 3 years back. Now it presented in a different way lah. Yeah. But then I think one thing that most people may feel demoralized is that I feel one time if I try again, there's this fear of failing again, right? And that's why they stop trying and they go to something that is safe and stable. Okay, but at the same time, it's safe and stable, yes, but it's not fulfilling enough, right? So I think it's come back to my core message of not giving up, but at the same time also being practical, right? You cannot chase dream, then you don't put food on the table, right? You do things that you need to sustain your life, your survivability, and at the same time, right, if you have more time or these pockets of time to dream, you go and dream and don't give up on your dream. Yeah.
And I thought you mentioned many times not giving up. So how do you recommend building resilience in children and in younger people? Okay, the reason why I ask is because, like for myself, I'm a very hands-on dad as well. Okay, I wanted to say I have 3 monkeys at home. Actually, I got three girls at home. Yeah. So I think the father needs more resilience than the children. Yeah, but on top of for the children, so how do we even tell the children, hey, I know you don't give up, but how do we actually tell the child or teach the child to build that kind of mental resilience engine in their head? Yeah.
I think it's also to diversify the activities, because like sometimes people say you need to cook to be a better cook. But then I feel that it's not just cooking that makes you a better cook. It's about looking at different things. So I would say that there are some actions that are more hands-on. There are some actions that are more theoretical. And then, so for prior to MasterChef, actually I didn't cook as much, but I watched a lot of cooking shows. So all these actions, it may seem inconsequential or irrelevant, right? But it actually adds up. So I would think that there's one aspect of theory, there's one aspect of practical that we need to incorporate in any learning that we are doing. And then you don't discount the importance of these 2 types of learning in terms of reaching our goals. And I think for the resilience part is to recognize that every failure will only make you better, right? I think a lot of times when I see my students get very upset when they fail or they don't achieve the results that they want, it's not because they are particularly passionate about math or Chinese or whatever. It's because they are fearful of the consequences, be it their parents' disappointment or the punishment or even the possibility of not getting to the course that they want to, right? But I think we should start to think of multiple pathways. Like for me, even for myself, right, I wanted to be a Chinese teacher from a very young age. But actually I was denied the opportunity.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wanted to go NIE straight away after JC. But I scored so badly for my Chinese, I wasn't offered Chinese. I was offered math instead. Yeah. So I was actually offered to be a math teacher in NIE. Right. So in a way that is a failure to me, right? My door closed. I can never hit where I want to go to. But then another better opportunity came where I was accepted to NTU. And then through my NTU studies, I got a scholarship there. And then I got the scholarship and I was offered the postgraduate diploma in education. So now I'm not just a teacher with a bachelor's in education, but I'm a teacher with a bachelor's in arts and a diploma in education.
Wow.
Right. And I got a much better offer compared to if I were to go to NIE at one time. So sometimes the door closed, right? And the window really opens. Yeah. So I think what we need to help our children to understand is failure is not the end. That's the first thing. Secondly is if we fear failure, it's not because we fear failure itself, but we fear the consequence of the failure. Right? So if parents at home who are more I would say they are more aggressive in their parenting style, maybe we need to start to hold back a bit and help the child to understand that failure is okay because I won't hit you because you fail. But if every time you fail, I will give you a tap tap right then. The child will eventually fear the slap and not the failure. But because the failure is attached to the slap.
Understand. So it goes back to what
The
sort of
conditioning,
emotional
yeah.
meaning you attach to your own. Maybe I should use the word failure. When things experience and things didn't turn out the way you wanted, try again, no?
Yeah, find a different way, no? Yeah. So eventually, I still became a Chinese teacher, and I got a better deal. You know, that was my experience of it. So at that point in time, when I was much younger, I felt it was a failure. But now, on hindsight, right, it's actually another opportunity. You know, yeah. So for parents, it's really to not attach failure and a negative consequence. That's the most important thing, lah. Because once they start to fear that you are disappointed, or once they start to fear that they're going to get punished, then this failure becomes like it's attached, the same emotions attached to any form of failure. You get me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope that parents out there who are listening, try not to attach a negative emotion to a negative experience. I try to turn it around and attach a positive emotion to a negative experience.
Yeah. I think this reminded me of the quote from Einstein. He said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah. So I think speaking on behalf of the parents as a parents, sometimes it's also it goes down to how we are wired since when we were younger, how our parents or the children's grandparents define failure in our own life. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of inner work to be done as well, and support given to parents. I mean, that's why we are doing all of this to constantly remind parents that, hey, actually we are all doing our best. At the same time, there's always new things to learn, and as long as parents are open to learn new stuff, we will be there for them as well and supporting them all the way. Yeah. Okay, now it's really 8:19. I know, and I wanted to use the last 10 minutes for you to also share more on. So what happens after MasterChef and SPOP? And again, parents, the reason why I'm doing this is because okay, this one is from me actually, I met Leon 1 year ago in a networking session. Then okay, this one is my 真心话. Yeah. That time the Leon And the Leon today are different, very confident. Yeah, like I'm so inspired by him. Yeah, and before the session, this Zoom, I was wondering if I meet Leon now, will I be starstruck? Later, I starstruck until I don't know what to say. Yeah, then my kids asking, "You sure not? You know Leon? He's a celebrity, you know." My friend, yeah, but I must say that hats off to you lah. I really see a big change in you, and I can't imagine. I can't wait to see what else is for you. Yeah. So tell us more about what happened after MasterChef, and do share a bit more on your new adventure on the. Correct me if I'm mispronounced. The create is it or
Creator.
creator. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't teach
No, no, no,
Angmo.
no.
I don't teach English. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for
Yeah.
me, right, like so 1 year ago when we met, I was actually just I would say just into the second year of tutoring. So it was a very uncertain time for me lah, because I always wanted to be a teacher. I became a teacher, I left the ministry, I went into tutoring, right? And then after that, I was very unsure of where my prospects would be. Okay, and then last year I signed up for MasterChef, and after getting the second place there, right, I was presented with many opportunities because I was offered by MediaCorp a talent contract. So I signed to MediaCorp. And then at the same time, I got a business network that I was working with some friends, and they were actually a cafe owner. So they wanted to open a third outlet. So we were working together on this third outlet, which is Creator Cafe. So for Creator, at the same time, it's really a steep learning curve because, as I said, failure may be presented in a form of like, oh, customers don't like your food, you may be given negative reviews, but at the same time, right, we always ask ourselves the same question: how can we do better? Because if we just give up now, then all the effort we put in will be gone to waste, right? And then for me, at the same time, after opening a cafe, then MediaCorp said, hey, we got this SPOP competition. Then we know you like to sing, we just fill you for an audition, like you just go and try. If you get, you get. You don't get, never mind, right? So I went to try, and then I got the place, and then after that we meet the teachers, and then you start to wonder, is this even real? Because Kit Chan is right now in front of you, Li Wei Song, Mr. Song is right in front of you, and Jim Lim Lao Shi is at the back producing and arranging, and then you see all these famous people that, I mean, like, it's like you say you see me, you starstruck, right? I see them, right? Oh, that is starstruck. Yeah, so yeah, you've seen all these people doing so many amazing things in their career, and then now you are able to meet them and talk to them. And the most starstruck moment was when JJ Lim came up.
Wow.
I meet JJ Lim in person, I was like, oh my god. Yeah,
Did you
so
shake his hand?
I did,
Or
I did, and then we took a
really?
picture together. Yeah, I'm gonna post a picture
Wow.
later.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's really like the whole experience by just embracing what will come next. I think is to say no when you think you cannot, but then to say yes when you think you can. You know, yeah. Because if you say yes when you think you can, when you cannot, right, then you are under performing, and then you may not get next opportunity. But if you feel that you're up to it, let's say for a singing competition, I feel that after 8 years of training, I should really go and try something bigger, right? Then I go and embrace the opportunity. Yeah. So after SPOP, definitely now more people know that I can sing, I can cook, and then perhaps in the future we can have more music and food collaboration. So it's opening another whole array of opportunity. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, on the networking, you need to meet all these famous people, and they also want to support you because we have grown to know each other over the course of the competition. Yeah. So there are many more collaborations coming my way, and I hope I can manage lah. That's my only, I would say, fear that I'm unable to keep up, because it has been tiring, but at the same time very full.
Well, what an eventful experience.
Yeah, 2021 was very eventful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess over this past 1 hour of talking to you, I think well, it has not always been smooth sailing for you, like since you're in your growing up years until now, but it's also not a road of thorns as well. I mean, there's always ups and downs, and this is life, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you pick up yourself again and you work on the skills, and then that's when doors open up and you just embrace them, and then now you're actually still opening up more doors as well. Yeah. So I really hope that 222 will give you like double the doors to open and close, open, close, open, close.
Finger crossed.
Yeah, but I think on hindsight, I think what I'm very inspired here is I think your mental resilience and your open-mindedness to do whatever that is being put on your road right now. Yeah, and not turning them away, or and even if it didn't work out the way that you wanted, you pick it up as a lesson.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely, I'm not always as cheerful as I am, and there are definitely moments where I will doubt whether I made the right decision. But I think at the end of the day, it's just whatever has happened, right? We cannot really cry over spilled milk, but we try to do better next time.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that I covered what I need to cover for you. Okay, parents. This is not a paid ad lah. Yeah, and as Leon, this is not a paid ad, right?
No.
No, huh? Yeah.
Friend,
Actually,
friend.
what again?
Friend help each other.
Yeah. But I think it's more like Leon coming here to share lah. I mean, I'm already very grateful for that already. And as you're sharing about the part that you mentioned, you also would know who will be successful, right? In the committee in NTU. So this thought, this funny thought brushes past, and I was like saying, well, heng, I talked to Leon last year. But it's just a joke lah. Yeah, but I'm so glad that you embrace this opportunity. Yeah. So okay, Leon, I just want to make sure that we cover everything. So Creator is one of your businesses that's parents. If you want to support Leon, where can they go to eat at Creator? Can you tell us more about the venue and opening hours and what's the best food? Singaporean always talk about the best food.
Okay, so for Creator, right, we are situated at Block 169 Stirling Road. So it's pretty accessible from Commonwealth MRT or Queenstown MRT. And then
Commonwealth, it's near your house, right?
I mean Clementi lah, so it's not the nearest, but if you know where IKEA is, and then opposite IKEA is Anchor Point, so we are behind Anchor Point. Okay, so that's the location. For the operating hours, we are closed on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then the other days we are operating 12 to 2 for lunch and 5 to 8 for dinner. And currently on the menu is an ayam penyet burger, because we have a very young team that is not culinary trained. So we are focusing on a seasonal menu now, but then in 2022, we are going to do add-on. So we're going to increase the amount of offering in 2022. Yeah, so this whole year is really sort of like a soft launch year because it has been plagued with the pandemic restrictions for the past 6 months that we're in operation. Yeah, but then next year, when we are more confident of offering a full-fledged menu, that is where we will bring in more items, and all the inspirations are in terms of like modern adaptations of local favorite food. So now we have an ayam penyet burger.
This one.
Favorite, yes. And the ice cream is a kaya and speculoos ice cream.
Wait. Oh, here, wow. Kaya and speculoos gelato.
So it's a little bit like a kaya toast, but it's a cold version of it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So hopefully next year in 2022, we are able to offer more things on the menu, but then do watch the space and come and support us if you can. Yeah. And then I'm also working on a tuition center, so that's another side.
Yeah. Okay. The Island White delivery wise, do you also deliver ice cream?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh, when did it melt?
We do take precautions, so we do bring like dry ice and stuff, and we have a ice cream container. But at the same time, right, because this ice cream is offered at our other 2 outlets. So there's one outlet at Little India. It's called Trees O'Clock Cafe, and another outlet at Tampines also called Trees O'Clock Cafe. So they also have the kaya ice cream. So if you are closer to the west, then we will set up from Stirling. If you are closer to the east, you'll set up from Tampines. Yeah.
Okay, understand. Okay, can. Okay, so I think 8 to 9 already. Never mind. Okay, so last 2 questions. Okay, one will be, so out of all the things that you have shared, yeah, so what will be the best takeaway for parents?
I think for parents today, right, what I hope to impart to you guys is that for passions, it is really something that needs to be nurtured. So if your child has a certain aspirations in terms of a certain talent that you want to work on, don't discourage them. At the same time, right, don't discourage them with the reason of studies is more important. Okay, give them a shot in their passion, but at the same time, right, make sure that they commit to a study schedule so that they don't lag behind in terms of their studies lah. And then the second thing is whenever there's a negative experience, it is good. It will be good if you can have a positive feeling attached to the negative experience, so that the next time round when they face that failure or the negative experience, they will not be downtrodden and they will be able to face it with more optimism. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so parents, I think a lot of things children learn from role models, and at home, I guess the most important role model is us lah. Yeah, so children learn from what we do and what we say. Yeah. Okay, so Leon, thanks so much for being here. And for our guests, we always ask one last question because we support parents who teach their children maths at home lah. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, I know that you are very young lah. Yeah, minus 10 years old. Jealous. Okay. So, may I invite you to go back to the time when you were 12 years old lah. Why 12? PSLE year very important. Yeah. So as you walk back down the memory lane, you see the 12-year-old Leon. As you step closer, the 12-year-old Leon actually looks at you, and then he got so close that you can almost touch him. Yeah. What will the now Leon tell the 12-year-old Leon? What will you tell him?
Back then I was very, very perfectionist lah. So I want everything to go a certain way. So when something doesn't go my way, I'll feel very upset, right? So I will just say that don't, in a way, is to just chill and just embrace whatever that comes your way. Yeah. And then I would also say keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Because you're on the right track.
Awesome. Well, I love the last word. You're on the right track. Yeah. Sometimes we just don't know, right? But if someone can come in from the future and say, hey, yeah, we are on the right track, how nice would that be? Okay, so Leon, thanks so much for your time, and I really appreciate this 1 hour of chit chat with you. Not easy because we are talking about something that is out of the norm, Yeah, chasing dreams. Yeah, so I'm so glad that you embrace this opportunity, and I hope that you have an even more awesome 2022. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Okay, so any more projects from you? Like
next year,
they can see, and my kids can see you on TV. They're asking already.
I am recording. I thought I've recorded a few shows, so next year I'll be on a few shows. But it's not like major roles, it's just like maybe one episode, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm not sure about 2022 in the sense like I have no major projects scheduled yet, but I already have got like 1 or 2 live streams and then 1 or 2 episodes on TV, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, nice. So now I can tell my friends, hey, I know Leon, and he appeared on TV. Okay, Ken, don't go off first. Let me just stop the live stream, and then we'll just quickly do a wrap up. Okay, parents, thanks so much for being here. And last session for this year, wishing you happy New Year in advance, and thanks for your support in this past year. Yeah, take care. Bye bye.